Every trader begins with the same dream, the fantasy of the perfect entry, that single, almost mythical point on the chart where price reverses, the heavens part, and profit flows effortlessly. It is the story we are sold from the very first trade, that precision equals mastery, that success belongs to the one who predicts the turn before it happens. And yet, this belief is the very illusion that keeps most traders trapped in mediocrity. Richard Wyckoff understood this better than anyone. He observed that the public's obsession with the entry, that first tick of movement, blinds them to the true nature of professional operation. The composite man, Wyckoff's symbolic representation of the great informed interests, never acts from a single price point. He builds layer by layer, constructing a position as evidence accumulates. His goal is not perfection, but confirmation. Each move he makes is designed to test the market's response, to measure how much strength or weakness truly lies beneath the surface. This distinction between prediction and confirmation is the dividing line between the amateur and the professional. The amateur wants to be right immediately. He sees every dip as an opportunity to catch the bottom, every rally as a chance to nail the top. His emotions demand instant validation. He wants the chart to obey his ego. When it doesn't, he hesitates, second guesses, and chases forever, arriving a moment too late or too soon. The professional, on the other hand, views the market as a living organism that reveals its intentions slowly. He understands that price alone is a deceptive messenger. What matters is the effort versus the result, the relationship between volume and movement, between energy expended and distance gained. When effort expands but progress stalls, he sees absorption. When effort declines but price accelerates, he senses hidden strength. These are not signals to buy now, but signs that a cause is being prepared, a foundation being laid. Wyckoff taught that every great move is born long before the crowd sees it. The professional quietly accumulates during boredom and fear, not excitement and headlines. He does not need the perfect entry, because his vision extends beyond a single trade. He is building a campaign, not placing a bet. Each portion of his position is a brick in a structure that will later support an entire trend. This patience, this willingness to build rather than guess, is what separates enduring success from fleeting luck. For most traders, this realization is uncomfortable. It dismantles the romantic idea that genius lies in calling the bottom or the top. It forces the recognition that the market does not reward prediction, it rewards preparation. To accept that truth requires humility, the willingness to let the market reveal itself before committing size. Wyckoff's writings repeatedly return to this theme, that the greatest traders do not argue with the tape. They listen, they wait for evidence, and when the evidence appears, they act decisively, not because they hope, but because they know. This reorientation from hunting for perfection to constructing probability changes everything. It transforms trading from a reactive chase into a deliberate process. The mind begins to calm. The trader stops measuring worth by how early he entered and starts measuring it by how well he managed. He no longer feels the need to outsmart the market. He begins to align with it, and in that alignment, he discovers the quiet confidence that professionals carry, the awareness that success is not a single event but a series of disciplined decisions. The myth of the perfect entry is powerful because it flatters the ego. It whispers that with enough study, one can control the uncontrollable. It promises mastery without patience. But markets are not conquered by cleverness. They are navigated through structure. Wyckoff's operators knew that no one can consistently buy at the exact low or sell at the exact high. What matters is not the first tick of profit, but the ability to stay in harmony with the larger movement once it begins. The perfect entry, then, is revealed to be an illusion, a distraction from the far more important art of building and managing a position intelligently. When traders abandon this illusion, they stop bleeding capital in the pursuit of precision. They begin to see that every campaign is a living organism, a series of tests, reactions, and confirmations. Each stage offers information, and information, when read correctly, is far more valuable than prediction. The operator uses that information to build into strength, not to guess before it appears. He lets the market pay him for being patient, rather than punish him for being early. In this light, the act of entering a trade becomes less about catching the move and more about initiating a relationship, a measured interaction with unfolding structure. The goal is not to be first, but to be correct. And correctness, in Wyckoff's universe, comes only through alignment with the forces of supply and demand as they gradually reveal themselves. What begins as a humbling admission that perfection is unattainable evolves into liberation. Once the trader releases the need to be perfect, he becomes capable of being precise. His mind clears, his reactions slow, and his decision-making matures. He starts to see what Wyckoff saw, that the market is not a battlefield of chance, but a theater of preparation, testing, and execution. In that recognition lies the first real step toward professional thinking, the understanding that true power in trading does not come from finding a perfect point on a chart, but from mastering the process that unfolds after it. Richard Wyckoff often reminded his students that the market is not random. It is governed by laws as precise and dependable as those of physics. Among these, the law of cause and effect stands supreme. To Wyckoff, every price movement, whether a minor fluctuation or a sweeping trend, was the visible outcome of an invisible preparation. The public may see only the effect, the rally, the sell-off, the explosion of volatility, but the professional studies the cause that produced it. He knows that no movement of magnitude can occur without a sufficient foundation of effort behind it. In this sense, the market behaves like nature. The harvest is determined not by chance, but by the depth and duration of the planting season that preceded it. Within this law lies the essence of intelligent pyramiding. A trader who attempts to add to a position without a built cause behaves like a builder constructing floors on a house without a foundation. The structure may rise for a time, but it will not stand. Wyckoff observed that every accumulation or distribution phase is a process of energy storage. Volume represents the effort expended. The horizontal price movement defines the area of preparation. When that cause has matured, when absorption has replaced supply, or when distribution has exhausted demand, the market is primed for its next directional effect. This relationship between preparation and result is the cornerstone of all professional campaign logic. The public, however, is rarely patient enough to respect this sequence. They crave the effect before the cause is ready. They chase every breakout, believing the movement itself to be the beginning of something lasting. Wyckoff saw these behaviors as symptoms of emotional trading, hope, fear, and the need for action overriding observation. The composite man, by contrast, operates like a scientist. He spends weeks, sometimes months, allowing the cause to develop, testing supply through secondary reactions, verifying demand through rally responses, and carefully judging whether the market's character aligns with his expectation. Only when the evidence confirms that the cause is complete does he commit capital with conviction. This approach transforms the act of trading into an act of analysis. Instead of reacting to every tick, the professional reads the unfolding story written by volume and price. He asks questions. Has the market shown a change of character? Is there evidence of absorption after a breakout? Are efforts being rewarded with results, or is energy being wasted? Each answer refines his understanding of the cause's maturity. By the time the effect manifests a decisive markup or markdown, he is not surprised, he is prepared. The law of cause and effect does more than explain price movement. It gives the trader intellectual safety. It replaces guessing with structure. Once one grasps that every rally must be proportionate to its prior preparation, the market ceases to appear chaotic. One begins to see logic where before there was only noise. This understanding removes the urge to rush, to anticipate, to gamble on incomplete evidence. Instead, the trader learns to measure. He begins to see the market not as a battlefield of random motion, but as a series of energy exchanges, each with measurable potential. Wyckoff's own chart studies demonstrated how this principle repeats across every time frame. A small base produces a modest advance. A large base precedes a major movement. When a trader recognizes this proportionality, he also recognizes when not to act. A narrow trading range with low volume cannot support a sustained trend. Entering heavily there is equivalent to betting on an uncharged battery. Conversely, when volume contracts after extensive absorption and price begins to lift effortlessly, the operator understands that the cause is ripe and the effect is imminent. His confidence arises not from emotion, but from evidence. This disciplined awareness forms the philosophical backbone of pyramiding. To scale a position intelligently, one must first judge the strength of the underlying cause. The professional adds not because price is rising, but because the groundwork beneath that rise is strong enough to sustain further expansion. Without that preparation, each additional unit of risk magnifies fragility instead of profit potential. In this way, the law of cause and effect becomes both a compass and a filter. It tells the trader where he stands within the larger structure and whether the market's behavior warrants continuation or restraint. Beyond its technical clarity, the law also carries a moral dimension. It teaches patience as the highest form of discipline. The trader who respects cause and effect understands that time is not the enemy but the ally. He sees that accumulation requires silence and stillness, that nothing meaningful happens before its proper season. His role is to observe, to measure, and to act only when the balance between effort and result confirms readiness. Those who disregard this rhythm fall into the trap of perpetual reaction, while those who obey it find consistency. In the quiet hours of preparation, when charts appear lifeless and volume fades, the professional is most alert. He knows that beneath the surface, a cause is forming, invisible to the impatient. When that cause is complete, price will reveal the effect in an unmistakable surge, and the crowd will marvel at what seems sudden and mysterious. But to the student of Wyckoff, there are no surprises. Every effect is already contained within its cause, waiting for the moment when preparation meets opportunity. In trading, there is a subtle art that separates the professional from the amateur, a discipline that Wyckoff described not as instinct, but as methodical observation. It is the art of pyramiding, the process of adding to a position not impulsively, but deliberately, as the market validates one's initial conviction. This is not the reckless averaging up that entraps so many traders. It is the careful reinforcement of a position already proven by price and volume. The operator does not seek excitement or confirmation through luck, but through evidence. Every additional commitment of capital is a calculated response to the market's behavior, a measured extension of strength rather than a gamble born of hope. Wyckoff observed that the market communicates continuously through price, spread, and volume. Each incremental move carries a message. When the market reacts with diminished supply on a reaction, or when an advance occurs with increasing momentum, the operator sees validation. These microstructures within the broader trend become points of entry, moments when the market itself invites participation. To add under these conditions is not to chase, but to align oneself with the forces already in motion. The disciplined trader waits until these confirmations appear. He does not assume that a prior signal is sufficient. Timing is not about catching the initial tick, but about responding to ongoing proof that the trend is real and sustainable. The process of pyramiding requires patience and precision. The first unit of a position is the seed, planted when the cause is established, but not yet fully matured. The operator observes how price reacts to effort, watching for signs that strength is genuine and persistent. Only when the market demonstrates its willingness to move without excessive resistance does the professional add to the position, layering one commitment upon another. Each addition must be justified by observable evidence, or it risks amplifying exposure to weakness rather than strength. This careful sequence transforms trading from a reactive endeavor into a proactive strategy grounded in discipline. Volume analysis becomes the lens through which the operator reads opportunity. When an initial move up from accumulation occurs on moderate to increasing volume, it signals that supply is being absorbed, that the market's underlying energy supports further advance. When the first reaction test fails to break prior support or occurs on lower volume than the preceding advance, it confirms that demand remains dominant. These subtle observations are the triggers for adding, the signals that the market is offering permission to increase exposure. It is not instinctive bravado. It is logical, measurable, and repeatable. The operator's confidence is rooted in observation, not hope. Even as positions grow, the professional maintains awareness of risk. Each new layer of commitment carries a proportionate calculation, ensuring that no single addition threatens overall stability. Wyckoff emphasized that pyramiding without discipline is far more dangerous than initial misentries. The market is merciless to those who add to weakness, and emotional overextension can erase weeks of careful preparation in moments. The operator's task is to expand the position only when the market demonstrates readiness, a process that requires constant attention, humility, and restraint. Psychologically, pyramiding is as much about mastery of the self as mastery of the market. The urge to add prematurely, to chase, to amplify hope over evidence, is ever present. Wyckoff recognized that human nature leans toward impatience, toward the temptation to overcommit at the first sign of success. The disciplined trader must resist these impulses, understanding that true advantage lies not in immediate gratification but in structured growth. Confidence emerges not from ego but from evidence. The mind remains calm because every action is justified by observable market behavior. Through this framework, the operator converts small initial positions into meaningful participation in the trend. Each increment is a reinforcement, each addition a testament to the market's willingness to move in one direction. By following the signals of strength, aligning with the rhythm of supply and demand, and respecting the proportionality of the cause, the trader transforms what could have been a single modest trade into a sequence capable of producing significant results. This is the essence of professional pyramiding, the patient, disciplined, and evidence-based expansion of position in harmony with the market itself. In practice, it looks almost deceptively simple. Price moves, volume confirms, the market proves its intent, and the operator adds. Yet beneath this apparent simplicity lies profound observation, restraint, and understanding. Each addition is a deliberate decision, informed by the relationship between effort and result, between the observable character of the market and the potential for sustained movement. In this way, the operator turns small trades into campaigns of strength, each layer building upon the last, each addition justified and validated. The process is elegant in its logic, disciplined in its execution, and powerful in its cumulative effect. Through careful pyramiding, the trader begins to feel the quiet satisfaction of control, not domination, but alignment. He participates in the market's natural unfolding, adding strength where the market allows it, and holding back where it does not. The act becomes less about timing luck, and more about reading the ongoing conversation of price and volume, responding with precision, and letting the market pay him for patience and insight. In this balance between observation and action, the true mechanics of pyramiding reveal themselves, offering both power and protection to those who follow its disciplined path. Even the most carefully constructed positions carry risk, and pyramiding, for all its potential, conceals hidden dangers that can dismantle a trader's account with astonishing speed. Wyckoff observed that the very technique designed to amplify success could, if misapplied, magnify failure. The problem lies not in the method itself, but in human psychology. Traders are prone to interpreting volatility as confirmation, to mistaking temporary strength for sustained dominance. They add to positions when the market has not yet proven its willingness to continue. Or worse, they allow greed to override discipline, treating pyramiding as an opportunity to chase profit rather than to align with evidence. In these moments, what was intended as a strategic expansion becomes a trap, feeding the composite man's liquidity and leaving the trader vulnerable. The market, Wyckoff noted, is a silent test of character. Each advance invites the question, will the participant respond with logic or emotion? When traders pyramid too aggressively into a reaction or a seemingly promising breakout, they expose themselves to exhaustion points that may not be immediately visible. What appears as strength is often the absorption of inexperienced buying. The composite operator, patient and observant, exploits these moments, selling into the apparent enthusiasm of the crowd. Those who fail to recognize the difference between genuine demand and temporary interest find themselves overextended, trapped in positions that turn against them with speed and severity. Volume and spread become critical indicators of this danger. When a price rally occurs on diminishing volume, It is not a signal of strength but a warning of weakness. Traders who add at these junctures mistake the absence of selling pressure for market alignment, ignoring the subtle signs that supply remains sufficient to halt the advance. Wyckoff emphasized that these misreadings are not technical errors alone, they are psychological failures. Fear, hope, and ego cloud judgment, leading to decisions that contradict the very principles of pyramiding. What began as a disciplined strategy degenerates into reactive behavior, and the cost can be severe. Even those who understand cause and effect can fall prey to these traps. The problem is not ignorance, but impatience. Markets test their participants continually, offering fleeting opportunities that feel urgent. The temptation to add just one more unit, to capture the next wave of profit, is strong. Each successive addition without clear confirmation increases risk exponentially, turning the carefully measured structure into a precarious tower. Wyckoff's writings repeatedly warned that the first breach of discipline in a pyramid often triggers a cascade. The mind rationalizes the overcommitment, convincing itself that the market will inevitably resume the trend. Reality, however, is indifferent. When exhaustion meets resistance or distribution, the pyramid collapses with speed, and the trader is left to wonder how so small a miscalculation could produce such disproportionate loss. Emotion is as much a hazard as the market itself. The psychological allure of pyramiding lies in the visible growth of unrealized profit. Traders become attached to the upward trajectory, conflating paper gains with security. The mind begins to imagine invincibility, interpreting minor pullbacks as buying opportunities rather than cautionary signals. This illusion of control is precisely what Wyckoff identified as dangerous. When traders allow ego to dictate the pace of position expansion, they abandon the discipline that initially protected them. Each additional layer, justified by hope rather than evidence, compounds risk. The pyramid, once a tool of leverage, transforms into a source of vulnerability. Wyckoff's approach to mitigating these dangers emphasizes observation, restraint, and proportionality. He insisted that each addition must be validated by the market itself, that evidence of strength must outweigh the temptation to act prematurely. The operator learns to distinguish between genuine signs of demand and the false signals created by emotional trading. He observes how reactions behave, how price responds to effort, and whether volume supports the intended continuation. These subtle cues separate the disciplined professional from the impulsive amateur. Ultimately, the hidden dangers of pyramiding are a mirror of the trader's own psychology. Fear tempts withdrawal. Hope encourages overcommitment. Ego demands action. The market exploits these weaknesses relentlessly. Those who recognize these dangers and who temper ambition with patience discover that pyramiding need not be perilous. Risk is not eliminated but controlled. The process becomes a measured dialogue with the market rather than a gamble against it. Discipline, in this context, is both shield and sword, allowing the operator to navigate the surge of opportunity without succumbing to its hidden pitfalls. The awareness of these dangers is transformative. Traders begin to see that each decision carries consequences beyond immediate profit or loss. Pyramiding, when respected, is a powerful tool. Misapplied, it is a weapon against oneself. Understanding the balance between caution and conviction, between observation and action, becomes the test of mastery. In this recognition lies the subtle wisdom Wyckoff imparted to every serious student. Success is not achieved by adding recklessly, but by knowing exactly when and why the market permits it. It is a lesson in patience, discipline, and the unforgiving logic of cause and effect in motion. The culmination of disciplined trading lies not merely in observation, but in the ability to act with precision, to construct a position that grows in tandem with the market's natural rhythm. Wyckoff's scaling blueprint is the articulation of this principle, a method that transforms pyramiding from a theoretical concept into a tangible, repeatable strategy. At its core, it is an exercise in alignment with supply and demand, with volume and price, and above all, with the unchanging logic that underpins all market movement. Each step, each addition, is neither arbitrary nor impulsive. It is the product of careful observation, rigorous analysis, and patient waiting for the market to validate one's insight. In this framework, the initial position is planted when the structure has matured sufficiently to indicate potential for expansion. The trader does not enter at the whim of price, nor in response to headlines or external sentiment, but in response to the evidence of absorption and readiness. This first commitment is modest, intentionally so, for it serves as a foothold rather than a declaration of dominance. The initial unit allows the operator to observe the market's behavior under the weight of participation, to gauge the response of supply and demand. It is a test as much as it is an entry, a measured probe to ensure that the market's energy supports continued movement. The process of scaling unfolds as the market proves itself. The first addition occurs not because the trader desires a larger position, but because price action confirms the initial thesis. Effort and result are aligned. The advance persists while reactions fail to reclaim prior support. Volume confirms strength without excess, suggesting that supply has been absorbed and that demand remains intact. The professional recognizes these signals as permission to increase exposure, adding carefully to a position that has already demonstrated resilience. Each addition is proportionate, maintaining a balance between potential reward and acceptable risk, ensuring that no single action threatens overall capital preservation. With each successive layer, the trader maintains a continuous dialogue with the market, observing how reactions behave, noting whether momentum persists or wanes, and analyzing the interplay between price spread and volume provides the information necessary to guide further scaling. This methodical progression transforms pyramiding from a gamble into a structured sequence. The operator's confidence is grounded not in hope but in evidence. He does not add because he wishes the trend to continue, but because the market itself has demonstrated that it will. Patience, precision, and vigilance are the hallmarks of this disciplined approach. As the position grows, the operator remains acutely aware of risk. Each new layer is calculated to ensure that potential loss remains manageable relative to overall account size. Wyckoff emphasized that the strength of the pyramid lies not simply in its height, but in the stability of its base. Overextension, or disregard for proportionality, invites catastrophe, while measured expansion fosters resilience. The market rewards the disciplined operator by allowing position growth in harmony with unfolding trends, while punishing those who add recklessly. By respecting these parameters, the trader converts opportunity into sustainable advantage. Timing is equally critical within this blueprint. Each addition is contingent upon observable proof rather than anticipation. Breakouts must be tested. Rallies must withstand minor reactions. Effort must produce commensurate results. The operator refrains from acting prematurely, understanding that the market's behavior, not his desire, dictates the pace of participation. This discipline instills a sense of control that is paradoxically liberating. The trader is no longer at the mercy of sudden spikes or unexpected pullbacks, because his decisions are aligned with the structure of the market rather than the chaos of chance. Beyond mechanics, this blueprint shapes the trader's psychology. The method fosters patience, humility, and clarity of thought. Each layer of the pyramid becomes a testament to disciplined judgment, a reflection of observation tempered by restraint. By anchoring every action to evidence, the trader minimizes the influence of fear, greed, and hope, which are the primary agents of error in unstructured trading. Confidence grows naturally, not from ego, but from the consistent application of logic. The mind learns to trust the market's signals, to read the subtle messages encoded in price and volume, and to respond with calm precision. Ultimately, Wyckoff's scaling blueprint embodies the synthesis of knowledge, observation, and disciplined action. It converts the abstract principles of cause and effect into a practical strategy, providing a framework in which small trades can evolve into significant positions without reckless exposure. The market, once a source of uncertainty and stress, becomes a partner in execution, revealing opportunities to those who are patient enough to observe and disciplined enough to follow its guidance. Within this structure lies the true power of pyramiding, the ability to transform measured, evidence-based decisions into cumulative strength, creating positions that reflect both the logic of the market and the mastery of the operator. The final measure of trading skill is not found in charts or indicators, but in the mind of the operator. Wyckoff understood that the greatest advantage lies in discipline, self-awareness, and the ability to act within the boundaries of evidence rather than emotion. Pyramiding, as powerful as it is, exposes the trader to the full spectrum of psychological challenges: hope, fear, greed, and ego. The true professional is not the one who maximizes every tick, but the one who navigates these impulses with clarity, restraint, and patience. Mastery is revealed in the quiet moments, when positions are largest and the temptation to act recklessly is strongest. It is in these moments that character, more than technique, determines outcome. Wyckoff repeatedly emphasized that the market does not forgive impatience. Even a perfectly structured pyramid can unravel if the operator allows ego to dictate action. The temptation to add excessively during a strong advance, or to hold beyond prudent limits, often overwhelms logic. Many traders mistake temporary strength for invincibility, misreading volatility as confirmation and projecting certainty where none exists. The professional recognizes these psychological pitfalls and treats each layer of the pyramid as a test of temperament as much as of technical skill. Every decision to add, hold, or reduce must be justified not by desire, but by evidence. Humility becomes a core component of mastery. The trader who respects the market understands that no amount of knowledge grants absolute control. He accepts that losses, corrections, and unforeseen reversals are inevitable. This acceptance is not resignation, but clarity. It allows him to act decisively when conditions align, and to refrain when evidence is insufficient. Discipline, in this sense, is moral as much as technical. The operator's greatest victories are the moments he resisted temptation, acted within reason, and allowed the market structure to dictate his behavior. The awareness that the market is indifferent to his intentions fosters a calm objectivity, a psychological balance that is as valuable as any tactical skill. The professional mind also perceives the cumulative nature of trading decisions. Each addition to a position, each adjustment in size, represents not just a potential profit, but an engagement with market structure. Decisions are interconnected. Premature action in one area can compromise the entire campaign. Wyckoff's operators understood that the pyramid is not simply a ladder of gains, but a living structure sensitive to timing, momentum, and risk. Each layer added strength only if executed with evidence-based precision. Each misstep carries consequences far beyond the immediate loss. The operator, therefore, develops a consciousness of proportionality, weighing the potential reward against the structural integrity of the position and the limits of capital. Observation remains central to this state of mastery. Even as positions grow and trends unfold, the professional continues to read the subtle signs of supply and demand. He notes volume shifts, reaction behavior, and the character of price movement, interpreting each nuance as guidance. This constant vigilance cultivates both confidence and humility. Confidence arises from repeated validation of evidence. Humility arises from the recognition that the market can change without warning, and that no strategy, however robust, is infallible. The mind that balances these qualities maintains clarity under pressure, enabling the trader to act decisively when conditions justify it, and to refrain when they do not. Ultimately, mastery is inseparable from identity. The operator who internalizes these lessons is transformed. He no longer measures success by the thrill of perfect entries or the magnitude of immediate gains. Instead, he evaluates outcomes based on adherence to principle, alignment with market structure, and consistency of disciplined execution. Pyramiding is not a path to ego gratification. It is a reflection of composure, patience, and logical reasoning. In learning to scale positions responsibly, the trader cultivates a broader wisdom, the understanding that market opportunity is abundant, but only those prepared to act with discipline will capture it without destruction. This mindset also reframes the experience of risk. The professional does not fear loss, because he knows it is an inherent part of participation, nor does he cling to profit, because he understands that the market is a continuum rather than a single event. He acts in accordance with structure, not expectation, and this alignment allows him to transform volatility from threat into information. Each successful pyramid is a testament to the marriage of observation and action, of intellect and restraint. It demonstrates that the market rewards not the impulsive or the hopeful, but the patient, the disciplined, and the perceptive. Wyckoff's philosophy extends beyond mechanics into morality. The trader who masters pyramiding exercises restraint, respect, and wisdom. He recognizes that his own emotional state is the true variable over which he has control. By cultivating humility, patience, and disciplined observation, he protects both capital and mind. The professional's victories are quiet but profound, measured not by spectacle, but by consistency and alignment with the market's natural rhythm. In this understanding lies the enduring power of Wyckoff's teaching. Mastery is not defined by the size of one's trades, but by the clarity, patience, and integrity with which they are executed.